Have you ever been working on a file in your code base and been uncertain about whether or not the changes are ready to be committed? There is a possibility that you are experimenting with a new feature or toying with some bug fixes, but you do not wish to clutter your commit history at this time. This is where the stash command comes into play. It is a helpful tool that allows you to temporarily set aside your current changes, providing you with a clean working directory in which you can experiment without harming your main branch. In the event that you only want to store a single file and not everything that you have been working on, what are your options? Fear not, fellow coders. Git Stash has you covered. In this video, we'll dive into the magic of stashing specific files, keeping your workflow organized and your commit history pristine. Now, before we jump into the code, let's rewind a bit. Understanding the core concept of stashing in Git is crucial. Imagine your stash as a temporary holding area, like a virtual notebook where you jot down ideas you might come back to later. You can stash all your changes, specific files, or even parts of a file, giving you granular control over your development flow. Alright, with that foundation set, let's get down to business. There are two main ways to stash a single file in Git. Method 1, using the git stash push command. This is the most straightforward approach. Open your terminal and navigate to your Git repository using the cd command. Once you're in the right directory, type the following. Git stash push file name. Replace file name with the actual name of the file you want to stash. Hit enter, and voila! Your chosen file, along with any changes you've made, disappears from your working directory. Method 2, interactive stashing with git stash p. This method offers more control, allowing you to selectively stash specific parts of a file. Here's how it works. Git stash p. This command launches an interactive stashing session. You'll see a breakdown of the changes you've made in the file. Use the following options to navigate. Y. Stash the current section of code. N. Skip the current section and move on. Q. Abort the entire stashing process. A. Stash the current section and all remaining changes in the file. D. Skip stashing all changes in the current file. Once you've selected the parts you want to stash, Git will create a stash with just those modifications. Applying the stash and bringing your changes back. Let's say you've stashed a file and are ready to reapply the changes. Here's the magic command. Git stash pop. This command retrieves the most recent stash and applies the changes back to your working directory. Bonus tip, adding a stash message. Want to keep track of why you stashed a file? You can add a message along with the stash command. Git stash push m working on a new feature file name. This message will be associated with your stash, making it easier to recall your intentions later on. Remember, stashes are temporary havens for your code. It's good practice to apply or remove them after you're done with the shelf changes. Leaving too many stashes lying around can clutter your Git history. With that said, thanks for watching. Until next time, keep your code clean and your stashes well organized.